Hey folks, welcome to Guitar Daily. My name's Nick Granville. I'm a Wellington, New Zealand-based guitar player, professional guitar player. This is all I do. I do session work, I do recording stuff of my own projects, a lot of sideman gigs. I work with orchestras, I do all kinds of things. And I share daily videos about music and improvisation and guitar and all kinds of stuff like that. So this week what I'm doing, 7 days, 7 modes of the major scale, right? So today is Dorian mode. Now that what you were listening at that little intro jam was a loop from a new album that I've got that I've been working on for about 5 years now. Slowly just sort of chipping away at that one, but eventually that will come out. But it's an F minor to B flat 7 thing. So perfect Dorian example, right? So, what is Dorian mode? Well, there's a couple of ways of looking at this. But say we were to think derivatively, we would think it's the second mode from the G major scale. Right, G major, we move to the second note. We get that. I don't particularly like that way of thinking, but I get that some people do. Right? The way I prefer to think about it is think about Dorian as its own thing. So Dorian is this, right? Starting from A. That's it. Don't derive it from anywhere else. It's just A Dorian. And the reason I like that is now I can see, okay, it's got a flattened third, a natural 6 and a flat 7, right? So I know it's minor, right? And that's really important. So that's a really important distinction to make, right? So all that stuff has probably already been covered elsewhere, so I won't bother looking into that too much today. Now what I'm going to talk about, to me Dorian doesn't really sound like a minor scale. I mean, I get that it is, don't get me wrong. It fits over an A minor kind of sound. But to me, it's very strongly rooted in where it's going, even though it never actually goes there, right? If we think about it as 2-5, which is a common chord progression, which is what I was playing over, A minor to D7, that implies that we're going to G. It's, as I mentioned, it's a derivative G major. We don't ever actually have to go there for that to be implied. To me, it sounds more like it's from a major family, because I don't hear a sadness from this scale. That kind of sound. Right? To me, that doesn't sound like a sad sound. I don't think of this sort of tonality or these sorts of sounds to me. Right? It's a minor 7 to a D flat, A minor 7 to D9, right? That's a 2-5. That's a common chord progression for this. Chameleon is a good example of that, the Herbie Hancock tune. And there's a couple of things I do when I play Dorian. One I like to do is I like to use a lot of fourth chords, so chords stacked off fourth. So if I take something like this, yeah, so if I start with like a chord like this, right, I'm taking an F sharp and I'm just building up fourths, right, which is a modal approach. I'm not even concerned with what that chord is. I mean, against an A, it could be the 6, the 9, and the 5, but I'm not even thinking that. I'm just thinking 3 notes from the chord, right? And I started here, so I went up a fourth and I went up a fourth. And then if I went up quartal notes again, and these would be the voicings I would end up with. Right? And I use these both from a rhythm guitar perspective, but also from soloing. Right, so that's chords built off fourths. So I use those when I'm thinking modally. Another thing I do too is instead of thinking like A minor 7 to D7, right? I don't even think that, I just think A Dorian over the whole lot, right? Because I know it's going to fit there. And then everything becomes an option, right? To me, this is an A Dorian chord, but so is this. Because that also fits in there, right? So I'll play A minor. But hey, B minor is good too. Right? Over the top of the A minor 7 and the D7. Now it's not really even there, but the modal approach of thinking is that I'm thinking about all the songs, I'm thinking about all the chords that belong to that home mode, right? So that would be your next one. C major would be your next one, or C major 7 sharp 11, because the F sharp is in there as well. D7, E minor 9, is a good one, right? F sharp minor 7 flat 5, all right? G major 7 and A minor. All of those are good arpeggios to use, right? So I'll use A as an example a lot this week because I play open the A string, right? So that's C major 7 sharp 11. A minor. B minor. C. D. E minor 9. That's what I meant to play. You get the idea, right? Out of these, I'm trying to look at like, what's my home bass? What are all the things that relate to that home bass? In this case, home bass is a Dorian, and how do I make music with those things? So yeah, you can see a modal approach is essentially I'm looking at like where is the home base of all this stuff, in this case A Dorian, and all the things that relate to that and how I can use them both as soloing, but I use them as rhythm guitar as well. So that might be something I'd play if it was like a static A minor kind of vamp. Just pretty interesting, right? And so that's kind of my approach to the Dorian mode. I use it a lot. It's probably one of the most used minor scales for me, mostly because 2/5s happen a lot in the music that I play, which is jazz and jazz fusion sort of stuff, but also in rock context as well. Works really well. So yeah, give it a try, all right? And of course you can use any of the pentatonics that you can imagine out of that stuff as well. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this useful, please subscribe. Please give this video a like. All that sort of stuff really helps. I know everybody asks for it, and there's a reason they ask for it. It's because it helps. And the PayPal's open. The link is below if you want to help support what I'm doing here. Do these videos every day. Jazz, rock, fusion. I've mostly focused on sort of stuff that people don't kind of cover. But I'm thinking there's some kind of rock things that I can get into too, and definitely some funk things I need to get into to sort of describe stuff that would help people, I think. So otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Cheers.